Regional Chamber of Commerce is here to help local businesses. It works as a policy advocate and helps connect businesses to each other and other important resources. Joining us live today right here on the 4, Stefanie Benvenuto, the Vice President of Public Affairs for the Chamber. Happy Monday, Stefanie. Glad you're here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Going to jump right into this, and I'm going to have to take us back a little while here to the heart of the pandemic. Of course, remember how dysfunctional the whole unemployment services was for folks who were needing that, especially during that critical time. I do want to ask you this. That was such a disaster, not to mention the billions of dollars of fraud that took place. But now the federal government is stepping in saying we're going to help make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Well, they're certainly trying to. So California, unfortunately, was not an outlier in the mass chaos that we experienced trying to get the money out the door to all the people that needed it. So much so that the Department of Labor, specifically the Employment and Training Administration, put out a proposed rule. Regulation is sort of made the same way laws are, but so they proposed this rule that was going to come out, and essentially they're going to do some cross-training. They're going to bolster staff. They're going to make it possible for federal staff to backfill in state unemployment agencies if ever, knock on wood, we find ourselves in a crisis like that again. I mean, even still, we're, 2 years and change past it, and there's a 5-month delay. And if you're unemployed, it's not like you can just let folks know, don't worry, I submitted it to EDD, trust me, I'll pay my bills. So it's a real problem for people who are really in the thick of it and need that help. So you can comment on the rule up until, I believe, end of May, and that's at regulations.gov.
Okay, good to know at least that they are trying to look ahead to the future in case something should happen again, although there are probably people still on hold right now from 2 years ago trying to get through to somebody. As we know, Stefanie, the internet is a critical tool for all of us, but here in the state of California, there are some gaps as far as who's able to get access to the internet and how good the quality is depending on where you live. Some news here on California's plans to try to close that gap.
Yeah, so kind of another thing of what we learned during the pandemic and how we're still trying to fix it, right? So there is what's called the Middle Mile Advisory Committee, and what we often like to tell our members and the businesses that are saying, who's making up these rules, is that major policies are often made in very boring meetings that you didn't even know existed. So there's a 9-member body that oversees the broadband network and how it's going to get expanded, because we all realize that not all internet access is created the same, right? And so the big goal here is to figure out how to build out that network so it's stable, solid, and it connects businesses and the folks in their homes when they need it. They're meeting monthly, and there are locations, 18 locations throughout the state that they're really focused on building out. And they're doing a lot of that through private sector partners, which we think is really excellent. And one of those locations is in San Diego. So if you're interested in this issue, I highly recommend you get yourself involved in that committee.
Okay, last but not least, here we have about 30 more seconds. Do you want to ask you about our southern border? Otay Mesa just expanded the lanes from 9 up to 16. Yes, that is good news for people trying to get in to the country through those lanes. But talk about trade. How does this impact trade here in San Diego?
Hugely impacts trade. So San Diego, we often understate the impact here, and not only just the trade, but how it's going to impact our local economy based on the fact that we have a completely shared environment here. We share our workforce, we share our air that we breathe, and being able to move folks through means less trucks idling, more efficient trading throughout the world, because it's such an important artery. And right now, knowing the supply chain crisis that we're in, this could really help alleviate some of that. So it's great.
All right, Stefanie Benvenuto from the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you in a couple Mondays from now.
See ya.
Thanks, Stefanie. Steve.